An 18-year-old's not a child's body.
Barely legal. They're still children. Well, my nephew's 18. He's still a child.
I'll send him to me then.
No, I'd absolutely never do that.
So Bonnie Blue has finally been deleted on every social media platform, and it looks terrible for her, as her latest stunt has left her OF, Instagram and TikTok wiped off the face of the earth. And you might ask, what's the stunt in question? Well, it's her dropping herself in a box naked and letting over 2,000 men do what they want with her. And seriously, what has gone on in the world for us to end up like this? So hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. I am Jake Baz, and well, Bonnie Blue might actually be finished. The OF influencer, known for being an outright creep and a total predator, keeps hitting the headlines. Sleeping with 1,000 men in 10 hours, epitomising the total worst case scenario of someone on social media. And of course, baiting things out about minors, such as here, she is never out of controversy.
I used the M word so much this weekend, and it's never turned me on more. I even videoed the whole thing. He was like the perfect little toy.
And if you didn't catch that, the M stands for minors because she loves spending time in a sexual manner with fresh 18-year-olds. She says she's 25, and I know full well that she's definitely, probably in her 30s, so that's a great memento, isn't it? Do the Leonardo DiCaprio speed run, it looks like. And yeah, she's totally gone now. She's off of everything, including her OF, which is where she gets all of her money. And it really asks, with all the problems that she causes, will she ever be away from the spotlight? We've got loads to get through here, so if you enjoy the video at any point, please hit the like button as usual, and also subscribe if you're not. Helps out the channel a lot, and as per usual, I would love for you to be back to see more of these cretins get doused. So the reason that everything has been deleted seemingly is because of the petting zoo stuff that happened in the past week or so, which genuinely puts the majority of other OF creators to shame in how horrible all of this stuff is. As we know with Bonnie Blue, she's known for her acts that she does where she goes and does certain things like sleeping with 1,000 men in a day and trying to up it and up it and up it, and basically just have this sort of group thing that goes on. If you remember the meet and jeets where you could just go and meet her and have sex with her, that type of thing, she's known very well for that. And well, this petting zoo was yet another step up from that.
What challenges do you have next?
Bonnie Blue's petting zoo. I am going to be in a glass box, tied up, and it's going to be open for the public.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a way to sum it up. Oh my god. Also, just the way this interviewer, I know they're another OF creator, well I presume that they are, but they're bringing this up as sort of like, what challenges do you have next? This is not a challenge. I don't think having a train run on you is really a big challenge. I feel if anything, the hardest part about that entire situation would be getting everyone there, and well, everyone seems to love Bonnie Blue, so there's people lining up at every single corner every time for her. But it's just disgusting, isn't it? Like, tying yourself in a box and then just letting people have your way with them. Like, that is the way that you explain it. It really just harms women, if anything, because it's perpetuating this sort of R-word culture that is going on in all of, like, the Andrew Tate sort of circles.
Get me in the box, but people can join me to me, touch me, just look at me.
Where?
I'm going to be in the centre of London, but in a house.
Oh, okay. Not
in
like,
a house, in a
right,
glass
okay.
box, yeah.
I was thinking like David Blaine.
David Blue, that's a bit of a stretch, innit? She's performing actual tricks, not magic tricks on it. And yeah, wow, it all makes sense now, doesn't it? Now you know that it's in a house and not a back of a lorry. She's obviously got a big social media team with her, so I just love the idea of her and her management in a conference meeting talking about how they're going to get tied up and then have thousands of men come and do whatever they want with them. That sounds absolutely brilliant. I guess that's the way business is in the year of 2025.
I mean, I'd love to be on the back of a lorry in a glass box, my way through the London.
Right.
That would probably be illegal.
Probably.
So I want to do 2,000.
2,000?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So the entire point here that Bonnie Blue is getting at is to try and one-up herself every single time. And it's just totally vile to see because she's giving away all forms of like self-respect or care for herself just to try and appear on social media like she's doing a good thing in her mind. As we'll get onto, the way that she portrays herself really is like a force of good, which I actually at this point can't tell if it's rage bait. Also, 2,000 people sounds like a lot, and well, I think the 1,000 was bullshit anyway, but the idea that she's going to have 2,000 this time is even more stupid, especially when she's saying, oh, people could just come in and look. Well, don't you want to just get in and get out? But it's so grim, and it's what a lot of people have been saying about Bonnie Blue for months at this point, even going up to years, that she really does make everything worse for women. A good way to see her as would be probably like the female Andrew Tate in the way that she speaks and the way that she portrays herself, and doing like sexual acts, for example, with people who are freshly 18. But the thing is, with these things, you can one up, and eventually you hit a stopping point, and that's exactly what's happened. She also talks about it on multiple different things, like here.
Well, I'm actually doing my own theatre next month.
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe you could come to that and you see the amount of men that pay to watch me be in a glass cage for 24 hours.
To do what in a glass cage?
Well, I'll just be like a zoo animal. They can come if they want to me, they can me. If they just want to stare at me, they're welcome to. But I'm going to be tied up in a glass box for a couple of days, and my body is for everyone.
It's so grim, isn't it? Just the way that she says that she's just using herself as this animal, like she says, an animal, that people could just do whatever they want with her, just trying to totally dehumanize her as a person. And I imagine somewhat, if you try to do these sort of stunts and things, you have to be in that position mentally, or it's really going to scar you. But the idea that she brings it up as like, well, this is me, I'm going to be this animal, you can do what you want, it's so grim. And it's just such a dog whistle to all of the lads, and just normalizes the idea that this is something that people want, like women want in sex. She just wants to be used, and ultimately, I believe she wants to portray that that's all the women's body is for, really. That's all she sees herself as. And it's so backwards and really does contort my stomach a bit, because it's just freaky weird.
So you're going to get paid to be in a box and just let anyone do whatever they want to you?
Yeah, well, obviously I get paid once I make the video, but the actual act is completely free. I'm not saying, oh my God, for you to see me naked, you've got to pay loads of money. No, it's free of charge. Anybody can come.
There we go for Bonnie Blue. She's a man of the people. She wants everybody to be able to feast on her, both literally and metaphorically. And Bonnie Blue is right. Quite a lot of her stuff is free, because actually looking at this video, I went on her Twitter to double check and see if she's put anything up, and well, I'm never doing that again. Don't do that. Please don't do that. But ultimately, this is a big spectacle, this petting zoo, which ended up turning up really well, didn't it? Because she said she's going to get paid for the video, and turns out, well, she's not, is she? Because, yeah, she cancelled it, and then literally a day later, OF got rid of her. But this caused up such a storm and such a controversy, because obviously the way that she has handled it and said that it's coming out as this animal to be used, it's really taken away from women. Everything that she does really does take away from women. She sees herself as like some sexual sort of predator, and she really does play into that, like we said at the start with the M word. And it caused that much of a stir that you've even got people like, for example, another OF creator, Natalie Reynolds, trying to profit off it by doing stupid American skits.
You're not going to the Bonnie Blue anything.
I already got my... Calm down! Calm down! Oh my... Bro, you're insane! You're insane! I'm leaving.
There's multiple of these videos which she's done as well, and for example with this video, it got over 500k likes on TikTok. And to be honest, it really worries me with the amount of people saying, oh, is this stage? Well, yeah, obviously, it's an OF creator. You think an OF creator that really does this sort of stuff is going to not push into that sort of thing marketing wise, but it's massive and it's global, and she's gained global attention from this. Which, quick side note, this Natalie Reynolds, the girl that is crashing out in this video, perfectly sums up the idea of the men that go and look at this stuff and believe this sort of thing and say, well, for example, is this staged? Because this is the same girl who is notoriously terrible on the internet, with the prime example being on a Twitch stream where someone said that they were not mentally well and they were very depressed, and she forced this poor woman to go jump in a lake to, you know, get over it. A homeless woman pushing her in there so that she could get $20. It's that type of thing. But it's important to talk about this woman, because this is just one example of like an OF creator that is trying to profit off of the Bonnie Blue situation, actively trying to one up, and then you end up with these stupid skits, getting hundreds of thousands of likes on TikTok. It's just embarrassing because she's profiting off of people disliking this thing. I did a video a few months ago around the problems of OF on TikTok, and really, Bonnie Blue is the prime example of making everything worse on the social media app. Everything's more sexualized, it's only getting worse. But thank God, it did end up getting scrapped. She ended up giving up, which honestly, I don't know if it's due to the backlash or whatever, but it doesn't look good, does it? Many people were saying about the legalities and safety of all of this that was going to happen, because yeah, she's just getting tied up in a box and used for literally 24 hours with 2,000 men. How could that possibly be a good thing? But she finally got humbled, because shortly after, people noticed that her 2 Instagram and TikTok accounts were taken down, which, if I'm honest, I don't know whether this is actually like a gimmick or not, if I'm honest, because also her OF profile ended up getting taken down too throughout all of this. And now the OF account is definitely something that did really get taken down for real, with an insider at OF saying that the extreme challenge content is not available on OF and is not permitted under our acceptable use policy in terms of service. Any breach of our TOS results in content account deactivation, which is actually insane. It's maybe the first time that I've ever seen OF take someone down despite all of the drama surrounding them. I really don't understand why they had a backbone in this instance. I think it might just be because she did just go that 1 second too far, but then also she's saying in this that she's trying to make herself an animal, she's trying to get used, and well, isn't that something that your platform really does benefit from? And also, to me, the timing of this is really weird, because it's not just that she's been banned now, it's that, for example, when she was doing 1,000 men in 24 hours and she was uploading all of this challenge content on there, it was totally fine and permitted and she got away with it. So to me, I find it weird from OF. I think everyone saw the petting zoo stuff, the OF people saw it and thought, well, there's way too much bad negativity going on here and publicity going towards it than positive, so we might have to kill the cash cow. Because as it says here, the estimated move could cost her an eye-watering 600k, and that is per month, so 1.2 Australian dollars, or about $1 million, which is just absolutely insane that someone could go on the internet and they could talk about these things so openly and freely and market themselves to then get in a position like Bonnie Blue and earn that sort of money. Like, it's baffling. You've got people in like social care earning like $12 an hour. Meanwhile, you've got Bonnie Blue earning 600 grand a month by dehumanizing herself and making the entire female race much worse. But yeah, I also think with the Instagram and also the TikTok going down, that does tell me that she has probably intentionally done this. Like, she has not been banned from both them platforms as well, because the timing would be just so ridiculously stupid there. I definitely think that there is something in the background that is going to be shown later. And Bonnie Blue's already moved on. As you can see, the petting zoo has had to go, but I replaced it with something even better. I can only wonder what the hell that thing that even better than that is. And that in a couple of days she's doing a live stream, which I can't wait for you to watch. Please do not watch it. For the love of God, please do not watch it. To me, from Bonnie Blue, it does seem like a marketing tactic, all of this stuff, to just constantly try and pepper it up and up and up. And I wonder where she is going to go with this, especially seeing as she doesn't have OF anymore. That is probably her largest, by miles, like revenue stream that she's getting in. But it really doesn't look good for social media or anyone else who has to experience watching this tripe. And mainly, it's really harmful what she is doing, and it keeps getting worse. So to what level are we going to go down to here, Bonnie? Let's find out. And what baffles me even more about Bonnie Blue is the way that she constantly gets platformed off of so many people. You see her do a lot of interviews with, like, for example, other OF creators and things like that, and that's just expected because they're just trying to cross-platform it. But then you also get the likes of, for example, here, Channel 4, which to the Americans out there is one of the biggest TV stations in the UK.
I have a photo shoot for Channel 4 on Wednesday or Thursday, and it's coming out in July. So this is the photos that are going to go on like billboards, buses, I don't know where else, but it's pretty cool. That when your mum is getting on the bus, she's going to see my face on it, and you can see the outline of the body. I wore a very similar dress to this when I went on Fox News.
Like, what? I get and I understand the need for conversation in these sort of matters, especially around someone like this, but to have like Channel 4 to be putting her on a billboard, which I can't tell if that's bait or not from her, but I would actually presume that that is the case, is totally mental to me. My ideas and thoughts around this is that potentially it's a form of like documentary or something like that, or some sort of documentary series on Bonnie Blue from Channel 4, but why are they even platforming her? She's a very dangerous woman to women and also to men, in contrast to women. So the idea of anyone seeing her on a billboard is baffling to me. But mainly it's this idea of popping into the mainstream. Characters like this shouldn't be in the mainstream. It's very rare you even get any sort of like social media stars or YouTubers that ever go into like mainstream senses, like documentaries, things like that. So why do one on Bonnie Blue? She's already got enough money. She's already got enough fame. She doesn't need that publicity. But I guess in some forms, outrage does sell. So I imagine that's why they're going through with it. But even like Fox News, why have you got her on there? Especially when a lot of the things that she does say is to invite rage bait and to annoy people and anger people and make people like feel like like literally just There's no rhyme or reason to be having her there in the first place, because what she says is borderline criminal, like talking about having sex with freshly 18-year-olds, saying that she's part of sex education, which, yeah, I know that's one way to teach someone.
Yes, you can learn sex education at school, but how much do you learn from a middle-aged teacher that's not been laid for years?
So you're just like a modern day walk-in sex education lesson?
Yeah.
For underage children?
Well, no, because they're 18.
Well, barely legal people, yeah.
And if you've got an issue with the age, then take it up with the government, because I go by the rules, and the rules is 18.
I feel like I need some blinkers on. I'm just totally blasted by that. Especially the way and manner that Bonnie Blue does things, like 1,000 men in 24 hours. I don't think that's very good education in that manner. You're going to get a maximum of like 40 seconds of her. Is that what a woman wants? And yeah, obviously she's not going to educate people in a short session. I'd definitely not educate people by letting her be used as an object throughout the entirety of the encounter. Like, that is criminal. And with their 18-year-old barely 18, like, she keeps saying that as well, like, oh, take it up with the government or whatever, when reality really does set in. Well, first off, in the UK, it is 16, which is even worse, to be honest. Like, yeah, that is not criminal here for some reason, and it really should be, but it is. If there's someone scouring round for people at that sort of age, like, she is definitely around 30 years old, to be doing that, it is just a bit grim, isn't it? And it's just dehumanizing to everything that she does. OF's just such a terrible platform. Like, it really is. What she does and the way that she presents herself is so damaging. So then to hear her rage bait on, for example, this standout TV interview, it really does annoy me.
Do you not have a problem with the fact that they're literally borderline underage?
No, because they're 18.
But they're still children?
Yeah, but they're 18.
What if he was 17?
Well, then no, because that'd be illegal.
Would you still, if it wasn't on camera?
No.
No, so your limit is 18 years old, but they are still...
I'd happily take someone like on their 18th birthday, like no problem.
How old are you?
Because they're 18, 25.
And you don't mind 18-year-olds?
No problem.
Do you not think it's damaging to them?
No, usually they'd have sex unprotected. Somebody they don't know, it could be on a one-night stand, they've been drinking, maybe drugs are involved.
This is not a way to qualify it. And the big thing that stands out to me there is her saying it might be someone they don't know. They don't know you. They literally don't know you. They know of you, but they know nothing about you. But that's what she's perceiving herself as. She wants people to know her, and she wants people to know what she's like, which is just this object. And you can see with the way that she stares at people with no soul behind the eyes, I imagine it's eating her alive.
They're going into an unsafe environment that they don't know. That girl the next day could say, hey, I didn't consent to that. Hey, that was rape. Or, hey, you didn't know what you was doing and you actually hurt me.
Yeah.
Them having sex with me, I'm saying, look, use me as a guinea pig. Try and error, whatever you want, because I'm consenting to this and I want to educate you on a woman's body. Because yes, you can learn sex education at school, but how much do you learn from a middle-aged teacher that's not been laid for years?
It's genuinely baffling, isn't it, the way that she projects herself. Her USP there seems to be that she gives consent to just use her like a guinea pig. Totally contradicting, by the way, because they're saying, oh, well, they might wake up the day after and the woman might be hurted and say that you've hurt them. Well, seeing as you're projecting yourself as this sex object, how will they know if they've hurt you? How will that be any form of education for them? How are they going to bring that into an next relationship? What, tell the other partner, just lay there and let me do what I want with you? Like, that is so disgusting and damaging. And despite all this going round, she has no problem with it. And obviously the reason why is because it makes her a load of money, and it keeps taking her up to the skies. But it's this projection of herself which really ruins it for so many more people. And I imagine that if this keeps up and you get more people coming up who are also doing OF that are trying to outbeat her in many different aspects, it's going to lead to social media which is much more toxic to women and also treat women like objects, which is entirely not the point of the past 50 years. And Bonnie is definitely someone who is very good at marketing herself. Like, despite what I say about her and the amount of times that you see this sort of stuff, it's entirely because she's very good at marketing herself and saying the right things to get her in them positions, as well as, just making up a load of bullshit. For example, here we've got Bonnie Blue getting arrested, which was such a massive headline about 2 weeks ago, as coppers are taking things off and they go and they lead her into the car from the police station. And then she's got to get locked up, and yeah, about time that it's happened, because a lot of people are saying that. The problem is with this as well is that it leads to murky waters, because what she is doing is technically not illegal. None of the things that she's been doing is technically not illegal. She's selling herself online in a manner which is ethical to herself and herself only, and well, everyone that she has been with is over 18, and even if they weren't over 18, if they were 17 or 16, that still would be legal as long as they're not filming them, which once again, so wrong, so morally wrong. And to be honest, this all did look very real. I mean, it looks like a real police car, looks like real coppers, and it looks like a real police station, but turned out all was fake, and it was just all a promotion for this horrible shit that I have to show you.
These men are going to show me exactly how to be stretched out and punish me for taking all of them barely legal.
Like, genuinely, with all the acting that she has, just have a day off, love. This is embarrassing. I guess you see that corn actors are actually, very good actors, and they stay in their lane and their niche for a reason. But yeah, once again, she's been pinned down by about 7 men, and I can only presume because I haven't looked, there's probably something on OF about it. And that's another thing really with how good Bonnie Blue is at marketing herself. Like, this stuff really looks so real, and it looked like it was actually happening, and it turns out, well, no, it's literally just her doing this bloody police gimmick, like, here again.
I thought prison was meant to be scary, but these officers have made it very comfortable for us.
To be honest with all of this, I find it more uncomfortable than anything else. Like, it really does make my skin crawl. In fact, this is a, corn shoot, and it just looks like the most budget sort of drama that you could ever see. It's quite hilarious. She must have spent all of the budget that she had on, the actual cop car, because, I mean, she's got nothing on here that is of use that makes any sense in a prison. Do people just wear grey jumpers? Is that really it?
So these officers are going to let me go early because they said I've been very well behaved.
Right, I'm done with them. They're sending me down a spiral. It's just terrible, and this entire thing was just a gimmick, and it really did fool people, and that's what she is so good at, fooling people into believing these sort of narratives that she has created herself. And you got to take your hat off and just appreciate how good she is at it, but also whilst thinking about how horrible everything that she is doing is. And going back to getting mainstream fame from doing this, like, you really shouldn't be. At least it's not with kids this time. She's at least gone one step above. And her narratives about herself just continue to sort of be immortalized on the internet when you got people like Camilla Arujo, who is another OF creator, on her podcast, which, by the way, she baits having her brother on there. You heard that right. The podcast host, who is an OF creator, has Bonnie Blue on, is the same person who interviews her, 15-year-old brother on the same podcast, talking about OF. Sounds like such a good relationship, doesn't it?
You slept with 1,000 men, not 999, in 12 hours.
Yeah, well, 1,057. I hit the 1,000, and there's still 57 men queuing. I couldn't say to them, sorry guys, I know you've just put in a long shift waiting, you've brought your packed lunch, you need to go home. Of course, I was like, welcome in. Welcome in. Thanks for waiting, you brilliant fans. Oh, it's just so grim, and it drives me up a wall the way that she talks about these things. It just normalizes it in a sense. And when you see so many other OF creators which are also in the fold, which are then trying to infiltrate this Bonnie Blue cosm, really does irk me. And it makes me think about social media and how do we actually sort this out? Because you've got these clip farming people with the likes of Jack Doherty, for example,
girl who is going on social media and has a roster of women. He's essentially a pimp for OF, and they get clip farmers to clip up and send these stuff off, which then makes loads more money. And you've got the likes of Camilla being one of them people that also does that, and it just seems like one big bubble. And well, could potentially, with Bonnie Blue getting banned, could that have popped and burst the bubble, which ends up getting rid of everything? Of course not. I think the problem is way too big and it needs to be knocked down from social media. But with the amount of money that they get through traction, through pretending with these fake situations, such as, well, for example, getting arrested with Bonnie Blue, they make so much money, it makes it impossible for it to stop. Because at the end of the day, all of these social media platforms, they're only bothered about making money. And well, if they can farm controversy, which makes a load more money, whilst also Bonnie Blue farming a load of controversy, which makes loads more money, why would this stop? It's just corporate greed at its best. But it is being infiltrated, and she is now, Bonnie Blue, getting into this circle with this Camilla Araujo and all of the other stupid OF creators that go on and age bait and rage bait up to the heavens, which is so disgusting. And for example, you've got a clip here of one of them talking about how they potentially ended up in therapy because of these sessions.
Molly's your therapist.
Yo, shout out Molly.
I'm in therapy.
But she told me this would be good for me.
Yeah, I feel like this is like it's anger management.
Can I just say, the reason she's in there is because of the Bonnie Blue shit.
Is it?
Traumatized her.
Essentially, this OF creator did a shoot with Bonnie Blue, and then on that, from the end of that, they have ended up being in therapy. And if that is something that is true, that is really damning of how actually like psychologically tormental this is, because you have to put yourself into a state of like regression, which then leads you to have no thoughts, to even be able to be in these sort of like group situations where you've got so many people coming in and doing all of this disgusting stuff that gets splattered all over OF, as well as all over Twitter and TikTok. Like we saw with the likes of Lily Phillips when she went on and she did these meet and greets where she would go and beat people, for example, with Bonnie Blue, and then have sessions with hundreds of people at some points, hundreds of random people. And she was sat there in the documentary breaking down from all of it. And now, obviously, she's part of the problem. She definitely is part of the problem. But to even see her break down, it really shows the torment that these people go through to try and farm these clips, which then just end up getting worse and worse, because at some point, it just gets more edgier. It's a tale as old as time, where you've got social media people who will try and do bigger and bigger things, for example, pranksters, to the point where they end up getting in jail because they've done something that has gone way too far. And this is what baffles me with Bonnie Blue. She seems to just constantly be totally fine with it all, and it's squeaky clean. And she not only laughs it off, she loves it, and she loves every single second of it. And it really is a sad state of social media that we're in. So if this lass has gone to therapy because of her doing a set, she is part of the problem, but also it really shows how horrible all of it is. Bonnie Blue's also constantly on loads of different tours, trying to drum up attention for herself, and also to get into these spring breaks, for example, here, where it really confuses me. As you can see, taking photos of people, as well as in one case next, which I won't show, spitting in someone's mouth. Delightful, I know, absolutely delightful. But I don't get how she has this fame. How does she have this fame and attention? Why is she seen as this some sort of like neo-internet celebrity, when in reality all she is a corn star who does OF and does it way too far, and then also projects terrible ideas onto men which affect women? I'd expect someone to just go and point and laugh at her and that be it, but she has this sort of like fame which really transcends, and you see it all over social media with so many people coming up to her, taking photos of her. It's really weird, because everyone's nice to her, everyone allows it, and no one really talks about the harm or how much it could really affect other people. And what confuses me with Bonnie even more is that when she's talking about these situations and everything that she's done, she then goes on to talk about how she actually values herself more as a person now, which I cannot imagine.
I love the idea that I don't know who's going to be inside of me. There was times I was in doggy and I'd turn around and I would have no idea who's in the back of me. And I love that.
It really does reek of trauma, and I think that she probably might need to go to a therapist herself. Just what? Not having a clue who's behind you, no matter what? Like, what? What a grim way to live.
That's disgusting.
I love it.
As a woman, there's just no self-respect there, or like no self-worth at all. There's no value. Like there's no value inside of you for you to just be like, anyone can me.
Oh, there is. Like, I value myself so much more now that I do this as opposed to in recruitment.
Genuinely, how? How can you value yourself more when you have devalued yourself on the internet to the point of an object? This is the same interview earlier that I showed you where she's talking about how she is basically an animal and that's all that she wants to be in these scenarios. I think the only thing that she should value herself more on is the amount of money she has in her bank balance, because as we said, 600 grand a month, what? Like, really does make you think, doesn't it? I'm not starting one. But it is just so degrading. And how does this look positive on any woman to make them feel like they have more self-worth after doing something that is so damaging to not only their own bodies, but also their own representation and themselves in their sexual identity? Because of everything you've seen, do you think that that is like lowering self-worth at all? I think it definitely is. And it only gets worse with every single thing that she does. Like, for example, here, where recently she has started doing this new thing where she's basing it around students, which she's always talked about, you know, doing students that are freshly 18 by like the day, and that's totally normal and fine, and everyone should just tip the hat and say, yes, thank you, Bonnie, that is brilliant. But now she's going to the point of like even getting like school uniforms to do these sort of stunts, which, yeah, once again, really terrible. Making a fake school uniform, brilliant. You obviously see the sort of like schoolgirl things which are in a lot of incel communities, to be honest. But this is the step further because you've got the blazers with a crest on. You're really creating this sort of dynamic and you're actually in a classroom, which is even weirder. Doing a group sex thing, which is really disgusting when you also factor in, well, this is actually for people. Like, this is not just a gimmick, this is for these people that actually want that. And I imagine that a lot of people that do subscribe to Bonnie Blue on OF, or well did, seeing as it's now gone, really like the fact that she does go for people who are barely 18. I imagine for some people who are like freshly 18 and they're doing it as a stupid mistake, they will see it as, oh, maybe I've got a chance. But mainly this is playing into age bait, which is relevant to a lot of people who are certain PDFs, if you know what I mean. They love this stuff, they want to see that, and they want to imagine that this is some sort of school setting, and she's trying to make it as realistic as possible so it fits that narrative really well, which really, it's so grim. And yeah, it really shouldn't be illegal, but somehow it is.
Okay, so these students have been so well behaved today, so I'm going to really teach them a lesson. I'm going to let them inspect for themselves and really stretch me out. Don't quite know if you've hit puberty yet, but we'll soon find out.
I really hope they're getting paid a lot because I don't know how I could do this. But once again, she's baiting into this idea which really does suit them sort of predators that really would love to watch someone like Bonnie Blue because she plays into it. So it's not only with her words, also her actions in how she really damages women just on a totality on the internet. And I really think from seeing this as well, as she is the head of this social media empire of OF creators, you experience a trickle-down effect, so there will be more people doing these sort of stunts and just normalising it even further, which really is a bad state of the world, as this age bait thing has always been something that's been on her radar.
How many 18-year-olds have you slept with?
Oh my gosh. I'd probably say like half of my sex count is from 18-year-olds.
Do you prefer that?
It depends. Like, I love taking their virginities, and I love how innocent they are. And
it's kind of noncy though, I'm just letting you know. Do people ever said that sounds a bit noncy?
All the time.
It's just a lack of expressions on her face for me that really is telling for how she's hiding this. I don't think she agrees with it. I just think that she does it because it gets attention and views, and that's the best way forward for her money. But she loves doing that, and then she also puts herself in positions where it looks like she is the older teacher that is looking after the children. It really, it makes my skin crawl, really does. And you're seeing all of this and you're wondering, why is she not being banned already? Like, honestly, why? Surely this comes under some form of TOS violation, surely. Which also leads me to the way that she promotes herself throughout everything else, because for example, she has got to this star-studded status, as we've shown you, that, well, she's getting kicked out of certain venues, such as a actual football game where she went in disguised. So, as you can see here in this crap video, she's being pushed out and taken out of the stands from an actual football match in the UK because of her existing. Literally because she's there, that's it. Definitely because of the actions that she does, and they have consequences, and as we've seen, she is finding this out on the daily now. But it really is funny that she actually does get kicked out of somewhere. It's nice to see some business owners can actually have morals. But yeah, to actually get in, she had to conceal her identity by entering the stadium incognito, disguised with a wig over her blonde hair, glasses, and an oversized coat along with a hat. This is the level of fame that she's got to, that she has to do this to be able to get into a football ground. And like, why? Like, why is she being given this platform that she is able to be in this position? This, of course, grabbed the headlines, and it led her then to go on and promote it in every way she possibly could. Starting off with this video, which, as you can tell, is definitely not scripted like every other one that she does.
I only smuggled 1,057 men's DNA inside of me. Turns out that's a crime according to this officer. But lucky for him, he was the first person to find me, so he gets to bonk me.
He didn't get to bonk her because he's a police officer, an actual one. But you can really tell that this one isn't something which was scripted or redone, because, well, she's doing it as she's literally leaving the actual ground. And all it boils down to her, really, is that how can she make a situation out of nothing? Like, she has been kicked out of a ground, but obviously that's going to hit headlines. So what does she do? Well, she does this.
I want these Chelsea players to use me like John Terry used his teammate's wife.
She gets a orgy video once again. It's quite repetitive at this point, isn't it? Just to show you the levels that she goes to get fame at any point that she can. She's managed to turn something which was initially a negative to her into something that's massively positive for her, and really did spread across all of social media. Trying to pull in fans of footballers, for example, and also just trying to play into the man aspect of things. Like, I'm almost certain that she definitely went into that crowd hoping to get kicked out so everything could come out from it. I'm glad she got kicked out, but it just led to more money in her back pocket. But Bonnie is baffling as a character, and I imagine everything that she's done as well that's led up to this has also impacted her life a lot. For example, with her actual husband. With Bonnie Blue sharing that her divorce had nothing to do with her 1,000-man sex session and the exact age she lost her virginity. I'm definitely certain that there's nothing to do with that. I'm sure that a man will just happily sit there whilst you go through a 1,000-man session and post it all online and just eat it up and think it's fine. But it does show that there is something hiding in the backgrounds which probably is upsetting her, or maybe she's just totally grabbed onto the hook and sinker and just gone for it because money means everything to her. I'm not sure at this point, but I do think that she values money very much, which is why her losing her OF is going to be such a big problem for her. From this, I can imagine that she will go and she will create something else, like maybe at her own website or something like that, which can promote her further without her having to get cuts from OF. But obviously that's going to diminish her just a little bit. But what won't change is the way that she can master manipulate a situation that will then bring her in money and views. She is tactical. She is, in my opinion, very smart, but I think she uses it obviously in the wrong way. She uses her ability to manipulate situations to then create these narratives which then really affect women. I think she's such a harm for women and society as a whole. I think she's trying to set women back years, to be honest. And I welcome her quitting and going away from the platform, but I can imagine that everyone is still going to see her absolutely everywhere. If you enjoyed, hit the like button and subscribe. If you're not, I've been Jake Baz, and I'll see you later. Take care. Thanks for watching.